I was working my weekend shift at the convenience store when a little boy stopped me at the entrance. His fluffy hair reminded me of a puppy, and he smelled of a familiar, pleasant laundry detergent. But the main thing was he was a spitting image of my crush. I was completely frozen. Then the little boy sidled up to me and said pitifully, "Mom, I'm so hungry. Let's go scam $50 out of Dad for some KFC. Okay? Hold on, kiddo. Can't you tell I'm a guy?" Mom. That one word completely threw me for a loop. I poured him a cup of hot water and handed it to him. "Did the cold get to your head?" I patted my flat chest. "I'm a guy." The little man nodded as he sipped his water. "I know." I let out a sigh of relief. "But you really are my mom." I choked again. After calming myself down for a few seconds, I started asking questions patiently. "What's your name? Do you know where you live? Do you have any family members' contact info?" The little guy rattled off, "My name is Finn. I live at Crestview Apartments, Building 19. My dad's phone number is 645,943. He tilted his head and gave me a strange look. "Mom, you don't remember Dad's number?" I couldn't be bothered to correct him anymore. I just nodded while pretending to type on my phone. "Yeah, I'm getting old. My memory's shot." The little guy pursed his lips. "But you look younger." "No, not look. You are younger." "Mom, when you ran away from home last week, did you go get a facelift?" Whose kid was this? I really wanted to give him a little smack. I took a deep breath and forced a smile. "Zip it, little man." Finn scoffed. "Mom, I've already graduated from kindergarten." I grabbed 2 hot dogs from the warmer to shut his mouth. Just then, my phone vibrated. The call from the 13X number was answered. The voice on the other end was cool and detached but incredibly familiar. "Who is this?" "Hello." I glanced down at the kid, who was happily munching away. "Your son is with me." The person on the other end paused, then asked tentatively, "Gavin?" I froze too. I recognized the voice and my eyes flew open. "Alex." No wonder his voice was so familiar. It was Alex Foster, the untouchable guy from the department next door, the crush I'd been secretly obsessing over. Alex grunted in acknowledgement, then asked with some confusion, "You just said, 'My son?'" My heart sank. Oh my God, my crush's son was already this big. What the hell was I even still crushing on him for? About 10 minutes later, Alex rushed to the convenience store by the campus gate. Finn was thrilled to see him and threw himself into his arms. "Dad." Before Alex could even react, Finn pulled me over and pushed me into Alex's arms, as if showing off his prize. "Dad, I found Mom. Aren't I awesome? Don't I deserve some KFC?" My face turned beet red. I quickly scrambled out of Alex's embrace. "What are you talking about, you silly kid?" Finn tilted his head, looking from me to Alex with a strange expression. "Are you two still fighting?" "No, wait. Did you two get facelifts together? You both look weird." Alex steadied me with a hand on my waist so I could stand properly. Then he looked at Finn, his brow slightly furrowed. "You're calling me Dad?" "Yup." Finn looked back and forth between us. Perhaps our cold reactions made him feel estranged and scared, because he pursed his lips. "Aren't you Alex? And isn't he Gavin? Aren't you my mom and dad?" Seeing his timid expression, I grabbed a lollipop from a shelf for him. "We are, yes, but you..." Before I could finish, Finn suddenly threw his arms around my neck, his eyes turning a little red. "Mom, are you leaving me? Why are you leaving me just because you and Dad had a fight? I'm not the one who keeps you from sleeping at night, so why are you leaving me?" This kid could really cry. The sound made my head buzz. In the end, it was Alex who had the magic solution. A single question, "Want some KFC?" cured the little guy. I had no choice but to take a half day off work and go with Alex to take Finn to the mall for KFC. Once the burgers were on the table, the kiddo stopped crying and started playing with the toy from his meal while he ate. I let out a sigh of relief and leaned over to Alex to ask what was going on. Alex showed me his phone. "I contacted a professor. We'll take him to the hospital this afternoon to get his head checked out." Alex was a med student himself, but his specialty wasn't neurology or pediatrics, so he had to ask someone else for a favor. Could also be a psychological issue, Alex mused, then shook his head. But he doesn't seem like it. Mom, can you buy me another burger? Finn turned to look at me. I want another Patrick Star toy. I sighed. He was so confident and outgoing. He really didn't seem like he had any psychological problems. After we finished eating, Alex called a cab to take us to the hospital. In the back, Finn held my hand and whispered, Mom, did you and Dad make up? I gave him a perfunctory answer. We made up. Finn knitted his little brows, looking puzzled. If you made up, why aren't you guys kissing? At home, you used to kiss at least 10 times a day, but you haven't kissed once today. How was I supposed to answer that, kid? I had to keep making things up. We're outside. There are too many people. We're shy. Finn nodded as if he sort of understood. Alex walked over. The car's here. Let's go. Once we were in the car, Finn settled into the back seat. I had just buckled him in and hadn't even sat down myself when the kid's clear voice rang out. Mom, there aren't as many people now. You two can kiss. My face instantly turned beet red. Alex turned around from the passenger seat, his handsome face looking a little stunned. What? I mean, Dad, you should hurry up and kiss, MP. I clamped my hand over Finn's mouth and gave a strained smile to the bewildered Alex and the amused driver. It's nothing, he's just being delirious. Finn was still sulking when we got out of the car. Mom, why'd you cover my mouth? I crouched down and laid down some ground rules. When we're outside, you can't call me and Alex Mom and Dad. And you can't talk about kissing. Otherwise, no more KFC. Finn looked hurt. Why? Why else? Because I don't have a son this old. I just made something up. Because I'm still mad at your dad. Finn pouted. I knew it. Whenever you two fight, I'm always the one who gets the short end of the stick. Couldn't help but chuckle. I had a feeling this kid's real parents were pretty interesting people. I ruffled his hair and stood up. All right, you. Everything went dark, and I nearly fell. Luckily, Alex rushed over and caught me. What's wrong? His eyes were filled with concern. I waved it off. Low blood sugar, I'm fine. Finn immediately pulled a lollipop out of his pocket for me. Here, Mom. His worried expression seemed genuine, and my heart softened instantly. I didn't even mind him calling me Mom anymore. I took the candy. Thanks. Alex helped me to a bench. Finn propped his hands on my knees and looked up at me, his eyes getting red again. Mom, please don't die. My momentary warmth evaporated. Don't worry, I'm not going to die. Finn tugged on Alex's shirt and said urgently, Dead. Kishmom. Kissing her will make her feel better. When I'm sick and Mom kisses me, I feel much better. He yelled it so loud that everyone in the lobby turned to look at us. Many people started whispering about our little family of 3, who looked like we were all teenagers. I wanted to explain, but it was hopeless. Finn and Alex looked way too much alike. Aside from Finn's curly hair, they were practically carbon copies. At Finn's words, Alex instinctively glanced at me. Our eyes met, and the tips of the campus ice prince's ears turned red. Quickly waved my hands. He's just talking nonsense, don't listen to him. Alex said, oh, his voice suddenly dropping an octave. What do you mean, nonsense? Finn climbed onto my lap, cupped my face, and planted a big smack on my cheek. Like this. He then turned to Alex, his eyes shining. Dad, you give her a smooch too. Come on. Give her a smooch. What am I, a slice of cake for you guys to pass around? Just as I was about to manually mute him, Alex, who was standing beside me, made his move. He leaned down, his face close to mine, and whispered, sorry. The next second, a warm touch landed on my forehead. Alex's kiss, on the corner of my forehead. It's not like I hadn't imagined making out with Alex before. He was my ultimate crush after all. But when it actually happened, I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. I could only watch myself sit there dumbly, completely unable to react. Finn very helpfully pressed his own little face forward. Dad, I want a kiss too. Alex had to plant a smack on his cheek as well. Finn giggled, obviously very pleased with this arrangement. His laughter brought me back to reality. My ears and cheeks were burning, and I didn't dare look in Alex's direction. Mom, you should kiss Dad too. Finn took my hand and shook it. If you kiss each other, it means you're not mad anymore, and we can go home. Huh? I said, embarrassed. I don't think. Mom is shy. Alex lifted Finn off my lap and bounced him a little. If you're a good boy and get a checkup, we can go home and kiss sooner. Okay? Finn didn't understand what a checkup was, but he clearly wanted to go home, so he nodded enthusiastically. Alex carried him toward the pediatric clinic. I let out a breath of relief and got up to follow. After spending the whole afternoon running around the hospital, we found out that Finn was perfectly healthy. He was clearly a well-cared-for child. If it wasn't a physical or mental problem, then how could he have this kind of cognitive error? I watched Finn playing on the swings in the distance, feeling completely lost. Suddenly, a puff of steam appeared in front of my eyes. I focused and saw it was a freshly baked sweet potato. Want some? When Alex saw I wasn't taking it, he pulled it back to peel the skin for me. Don't you have low blood sugar? I took it, a little embarrassed. Didn't you buy me a sandwich during the checkup? I'm not hungry anymore. It's fine, Alex said. It's still over half an hour back to campus. You should have a little something. I took a bite of the sweet potato and asked him, when we go back to campus, what about Finn? Where will he go? Alex thought for a moment. I have an apartment, but it's a bit far from campus. We could have him stay there for now. Once we find his parents, we can take him to them directly. That seemed like a good idea. Finn was pretty attached to us, so he probably wouldn't want to stay at a police station or a shelter. Keeping him with us was better. Where's your apartment? I pulled out my phone to call a car. Alex said, Crestview Apartments, Building 19. I froze when he said that. Crestview Apartments, Building 19. Why did that sound so familiar? Just then, Finn came running over. When are we going home? I'm hungry. The car arrived quickly. Finn climbed in and confidently recited my phone number, which left me stunned. Don't you think? I looked at Alex. He nodded, then studied Finn's face carefully. After a long moment, he said to me, his mouth and chin look a lot like yours. And that curly hair is definitely all you. I was a little speechless and gave him a light smack. Don't be ridiculous. Plenty of people have naturally curly hair. He looks way more like you. You should call your parents and ask. Alex sighed helplessly. My parents are in Africa doing medical aid work. The signal is terrible, so they probably won't be able to pick up. But he seemed to think of something, but then shook his head a moment later. Can't be. Let's just go back for now. The car pulled into Crestview Apartments. Finn jumped out and ran confidently toward Building 19. He took the elevator straight to the 7th floor, stopped in front of apartment 702, and turned to look at Alex. Open the door, Dad. Alex looked a little dazed, obviously unable to figure out how this kid knew his address. He opened the door and turned on the lights. Finn, who had been happy just a moment ago, suddenly stopped in his tracks. He stared at the decor inside, took a timid step back, and hugged my waist. Mom, why did our home change? I'd never been here before, so how would I know what it used to look like? I had to make something up to comfort him. Yeah, some of the furniture got old, so Dad threw it out and bought some new things. The word Dad still felt a little embarrassing coming out of my mouth, but I forced myself to crouch down and talk to Finn. Is it very different from before? Very. Finn's cheeks puffed out, and he looked angry. Why did he change the furniture? My favorite teddy bear rug is gone. His lip trembled, and his eyes welled up. He looked heartbroken. Our family corner is gone, too. Dad said the family corner was the most important place for our family of 3. Now the most important place is gone. Are we going to split up? This time, Finn was really crying, tears gushing out like a little fountain. I found it both funny and heart-wrenching. A strange feeling bubbled up inside me, unfamiliar, yet uncomfortable. Don't cry. I picked him up and sat on the sofa. Alex silently followed, handing me tissues to wipe his tears. Then you have to pee. Promise we won't. We won't split up, Finn sobbed. We won't split up. I tugged on Alex's sleeve and gave him a look. Alex got the hint. He leaned down and kissed Finn's cheek, then my cheek. We love each other very much, and we won't split up. I couldn't afford to be embarrassed now. I followed Alex's lead. That's right. Mommy and Daddy love each other very much, and we love you. We won't split up, and you won't be separated from us. I never expected that to make Finn cry even harder. He was like a fountain with a built-in amplifier. You're lying, he wailed. You two haven't kissed all day. You don't even kiss when you're sitting together. You used to be different. You must not love each other anymore. You're getting a divorce, you got rid of the family corner, and you don't want me anymore. With all his shouting, it felt like I was holding a megaphone. All right, I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed Alex by the collar and said to Finn, "It's just a kiss." And with that, I planted one right on Alex's lips. Alex's lips were so soft. Even though he always seemed so cool and distant, his lips were incredibly nice to kiss, like jello. I subconsciously nibbled his lower lip, and when I realized what I'd done, I recoiled in horror. Sore. MMPH. Alex was chasing after me for another kiss. My eyes went wide. I felt like I couldn't breathe. After several long seconds, Alex slowly pulled back and tapped Finn on the head. Is that better? Finn whimpered and wrapped his arms around my neck. But what about our family corner? Alex picked him up and headed toward the bedroom. It's too late tonight. We'll go buy things tomorrow and set up a new one. Finn was finally satisfied and let Alex carry him into the bedroom. 2 seconds later, the megaphone's wail returned. Bad Daddy, why did you throw away my Transformers bed too? After dinner that evening, Finn was still brooding over his Transformers bed. After his bath, he lay in my arms, scrolling through my phone to find the same one. He finally found it and pointed, wanting me to buy it. I took a closer look. 3,800. What kind of bed was this? Was it personally built by Optimus Prime himself? Seeing my hesitant expression, Finn let out a long "oh." Is it because Dad hasn't given you his salary for the month yet? Mom, you wait. He grabbed my phone, hopped off the bed, and came bouncing back a moment later. You can buy it, Mom. Dad linked his bank card, and the pin is your birthday. I was taken aback. My birthday? Yup. Finn nodded. November 7th. I remember it too. It's right next to my birthday. I blinked. He was right. Alex walked in, took my hand, and looked at the Transformers bed on my phone. He smiled. Go ahead and buy it for him. The pin is your birthday. I thought it was strange that his pin would be my birthday, but then I figured he probably said it that way on purpose to show how much we were in love. But I whispered to Alex, 3,800. Do you have that much money? Alex showed me his balance. So many zeros. My possessive streak flared up, and I wanted all that money for myself. Alex laughed. Well, the pin is your birthday. You can possess it however you want. I mumbled under my breath, but it's all fake. Once Finn found his family, Alex would definitely change the pin. As I said that, I looked down at Finn and saw the little guy snickering to himself. I poked him. What are you laughing at? Finn beamed. This is great. Seeing you and Dad doing so well makes me feel so relieved. His eyes curved into crescents, his little face a mirror image of Alex's. My heart melted, and I leaned down to kiss his cheek. Of course, Mommy and Daddy will be okay. Finn giggled and turned his other cheek. This side needs a kiss too. In a good mood, I gave him another peck. Finn then cupped Alex's face and leaned in. Daddy needs one, too. I blinked. Alex looked at me. His usually serious face now filled only with tenderness. He let the child hold his face, a warm ripple spreading in his eyes, and gave a soft "mm." I need one, too. I had a dream. In the dream, Alex confessed to me the year I graduated from college. At the graduation ceremony, I was wearing a cap and gown, holding a bouquet of roses, with Alex standing by my side. We were the center of attention, our faces beaming with happiness. I thought we would stay happy like that forever, but sweetness always loses to reality. After grad school, Alex moved to the next city over for his Ph.D. and was later hired by a local hospital as an attending physician in cardiology. To avoid a long-distance relationship, I quit my high-paying job in my city and found a chill 9 to 5 in his. But my leisure didn't mean Alex had any. As a doctor, overtime was a given. Dates we had planned, candlelit dinners in progress, movies we never made it to. He broke his promises again and again. I even overheard his colleagues at the hospital saying he was inseparable and overly friendly with a certain patient, and that they might even have a child together. My faith and expectations for our relationship gradually faded, and I prepared myself for a breakup. Until one rainy night, Alex came home, drenched and devastated, carrying a little boy. The moment I saw the boy's face, I jolted awake. It was Finn. Gavin? Hearing me move, Alex woke up too, squinting at me. What's wrong? The sky was just beginning to lighten. I looked at Finn, who was sleeping on my stomach, and felt a little dazed. Gavin? When I didn't answer, Alex called my name again and reached out to touch my head, but I dodged his hand. He froze for a second, now fully awake, and frowned at me. What is it? I looked at the two nearly identical faces in front of me, a wave of either anger or sadness washing over me. I got out of bed, got dressed, and started to leave. Gavin, Alex, forgetting the still sleeping Finn, scrambled up to grab my hand, his voice rising slightly. What happened? Why are you leaving? I glanced at Finn, who was sleepily stirring, and forced my anger down. I have a class this morning. But Alex frowned. I have your schedule. You don't have any classes today. Mommy, Daddy. Finn slowly sat up and looked at us with a familiar expression. Fighting again? Is it because Mom's butt hurts again this time? He yawned and scratched his face. So weird. Mom always falls and hurts her butt. Shouldn't she be mad at the hard floor? Why get mad at Dad? I gritted my teeth at his words and shot Alex a death glare. Alex clearly understood the deeper meaning and cleared his throat. Don't be mad, Gavin. If I did something wrong, I'll apologize. Okay? Finn was still watching us, and I didn't want to lose my temper in front of the kid, so I just gave a stiff mm. Seeing that we weren't fighting, Finn seemed relieved. He hugged his pillow and went back to sleep, soon letting out little snores. I took the opportunity to finish getting dressed and tried to leave again. Gavin. Alex held my hand tightly, refusing to let go. The anxiety and confusion in his eyes were hard to look at. What's wrong? Everything was fine before we went to sleep. Why are you leaving the moment you wake up? I was silent for a few seconds, then asked him, does this kid have anything to do with you or not? Alex actually hesitated. I'm not sure. His words were like ice water, making my heart clench. I shook his hand off and turned away coldly. Then there's nothing more to say. Returning to campus felt like I'd come back from another world. My dorm room was empty, my roommates were gone. No Finn, no Alex, and none of those kisses that I couldn't tell were real or fake. I sat in my chair and let out a long sigh, but my mind kept replaying the scene from last night of our little family of 3 laughing and playing on the bed. A family of 3. I paused, then remembered the dream from last night, which felt so real. I gave a bitter smile. I had no intention of playing stepdad. Besides, Alex was always so cool and distant. There was never any gossip about him, let alone any suggestion that he liked guys. That was a total fantasy. So, his connection to Finn might be real, but his connection to me could only be fake. I pulled myself together and went to my part-time job at the convenience store that evening. This time, no little boy with curly hair ran out to hug my waist and call me mom before my shift ended at 9:30 p.m. I packed up the food that was about to expire, changed out of my work uniform, and was about to head back to campus when my phone rang. It was the police station. My heart skipped a beat. I quickly answered. Hello? The officer asked, are you the guardian of a child named Finn? My lips moved, but I couldn't bring myself to say no. The officer on the other end continued, this is the university precinct. Your child is lost. Please come pick him up. He won't stop crying. My heart tightened. In the end, emotion won out over reason. I replied in a low voice, I'll be right there. When I got to the police station, Finn was sitting in the lobby eating a piece of bread. The moment he saw me, he dropped the bread, jumped off the chair, and ran into my arms. Mom! I didn't have the energy to correct him. I just checked him over from head to toe, and only after making sure he was okay did I breathe a sigh of relief. Then I couldn't help but scold him. Why did you run off by yourself? Don't you know how dangerous it is for a kid to be alone? If you wanted something, couldn't you have asked your dad? Finn's eyes were already a little red, and at my harsh words, he burst into tears. Why did you run off? It's dangerous for Mom to be out alone. 2. If Mom wanted something, why couldn't she ask Dad? I felt helpless. Alex and I weren't a couple at all. At most, we were just classmates putting on an act for a child. But these illusions were bound to shatter eventually. I couldn't explain all that to Finn. He was a well-raised kid, and I wanted him to grow up surrounded by love, not have his vision of a happy family shattered by 2 strangers. Just then, a police officer walked up, looking at me strangely. Sir, you're this child's mother? I was at a loss for words, unsure how to explain. The officer's gaze grew wary. Sir, please provide proof of your relationship with this child. Otherwise, you can't take him with you. Finn, still crying, shot to his feet, put his hands on his hips, and glared at the officer with a voice that was both fierce and cute. He is my mom. I want to go with my mom. The officer crouched down and tried to reason with him patiently. Little guy, he's a man. He can't be your mother. Did you get the wrong person? Think about it carefully. Finn cried even harder. He is my mom. I'm not wrong. He shook my hand, his eyes filled with anxiety and helplessness. Mom, tell them. Mom, you have to tell them. My mind was a mess. As much as I wanted to claim him, I knew I had nothing to prove my relationship with Finn. No birth certificate, no ID, no DNA test, no blood type match. I had nothing. Just as I was about to despair, someone else rushed into the lobby. He brought a gust of cold air with him, looking rushed and out of breath as he pulled both me and Finn into a tight embrace. It was Alex. I stared at him blankly as he pulled out a piece of paper, handed it to the officer, and said in a hoarse voice, "We're this child's family. Here's the proof." The proof Alex mentioned was a DNA test result. It confirmed a biological relationship between him and Finn. A biological relationship? Back at the apartment while Finn was changing, I quietly asked Alex, "So Finn isn't your son?" Alex didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Finn is almost 7. I'm only 23, 16. Yeah, that would have been a bit early. I gave an awkward smile and was about to change the subject when Alex tugged on my sleeve. Is this why you were so angry this morning? I felt a little embarrassed, unsure if our relationship had reached the point where we could get hung up on each other's pasts. Just then, Finn called from the bathroom. Mom, I can't open this shower gel. Coming. I called back, making a hasty escape. In the bathroom, Finn was sitting on the toilet, chin in his hands, looking at me. Mom. Seeing him hesitate, I asked, "What's wrong?" Finn took the shower gel and asked quietly, "Are you going to leave Dad? Are you going to leave me?" I didn't understand why he was asking that. Finn's lip trembled. At the police station today, it seemed like you didn't really want to claim me. I was speechless. Finn continued on his own. I used to overhear Grandma and Grandpa talking. They said that you and Dad, that it wasn't right, that it wasn't protected. Grandma said you would be a bad influence on me, that I would get bullied at school. My heart tightened, and I quickly asked him, "Has anyone bullied you?" Finn shook his head. "No one bullies me. Mom and Dad are both amazing and protect me really well." He hesitated for a moment, then asked quietly, "But Dad didn't protect Mom well, right?" I was taken aback. "Why do you say that?" Finn looked down, dejected. "Because Mom ran away. If Dad was really, really good to Mom, then why would Mom run away from our home?" The bathroom fell silent. Looking at Finn's sad face, I didn't know what to say. Was Alex good to me? From my current perspective, yes, he was very good to me. He was a senior 3 years ahead of me. He was the kind of guy who would bring me back a gift from a research trip with his advisor. He was a friend who always wished me a happy birthday on time. He was the Alex I really, really liked. The truth was, I didn't want to run away either. More than anyone, I wanted all of this to be real, not just a series of forced intimacy mix-ups caused by a child who mistook his parents. But Finn would have to go home eventually. After he leaves, how are Alex and I supposed to just end things? Silence and helplessness hung in the air like steam until a sudden voice broke through. You're right. Dad hasn't been good enough to Mom. I froze and whipped my head around to see Alex standing in the doorway. I had no idea how long he'd been listening. So Dad wants to ask Mom for a chance. Alex's gaze was deep and searing. He stared at me and said, word for word, I will be good to you, Gavin. Can you give me a chance? My lips moved, but with Finn there were some things I couldn't ask. Alex easily read my mind. He crouched down and said to Finn, Dad needs to go talk to Mom for a minute. Can you wash up by yourself? Finn's eyes lit up, and he nodded eagerly. I can. Alex smiled and ruffled his hair. If you need anything, just call for Mommy or Daddy. With that, he pulled me out of the bathroom. The moment the door closed, before I could even ask a question, I felt a hand tighten around my waist. Alex pulled me against him. The next second, his warm lips were on mine. This time, there was no encouragement from Finn, no excuse about making up, and no need for us to put on an act. But Alex kissed me anyway. He kissed me earnestly and gently. I responded instinctively, wrapping my arms around his neck. Gavin, in a breathless pause, Alex brushed against my lips and whispered, I like you. My heart suddenly trembled, and I almost bit his lip. It has nothing to do with Finn. Whether he showed up or not, whether these past few days were real or fake. I like you. I was originally planning to confess on your birthday. Alex chuckled, wiping a trace of moisture from my lips. His eyes filled with the warm glow of the light. But I didn't expect things to change so fast. Finn just dropped in out of nowhere. If I don't confess now, I'm afraid I'll turn into a real jerk. I came to my senses, cleared my throat, and pushed against his chest to create some distance, trying to dissipate the charged atmosphere. I muttered, if you don't want to be a jerk, you should have explained your relationship with Finn. Why confess to me? Because I couldn't hold back anymore. Alex pulled a small box from his pocket. He opened it to reveal a beautiful necklace. He looked at me and said seriously, I wanted to handle the situation with Finn before talking to you properly, but I was afraid you'd overthink things. And also because once you've had a taste of something sweet, it's hard to hold back. So I wanted you to know now. I like you, Gavin. I've liked you for a very long time. Maybe it was our first meeting at the club fair, or maybe it was his brilliant performance at a debate, or maybe it was every time he looked over at me with those bright, innocent, doe-like eyes. Alex had stood on the bank of the river named Gavin, watching and testing the waters for a long time. It wasn't until Finn's appearance that he finally had a legitimate reason to embrace Gavin. And it was then that he finally knew that this river wasn't a treacherous current, but a warm, gentle stream. The river named Gavin had gently embraced him back. My heart was pounding. I tried my best to suppress my excitement and asked Alex, so, you and Finn are… Alex put the necklace on me, then pulled me out onto the balcony and whispered, I have a sister who's 6 years older than me. She went abroad for school when she was very young and only comes back occasionally. I used her DNA to compare with Finn's, and it turns out it supports a parent-child relationship. Finn is my sister's son. I was stunned for a moment, then laughed in disbelief. Then why does he call me Mom? You look like your sister, so he should be calling you Mom. Alex froze, then laughed too. You really care about that, huh? I muttered, well, it's weird for a guy like me to be called Mom. Why else would the police not let me take the kid? It's probably just to tell people apart. He's a kid, he doesn't think anything of it. Alex kissed my forehead again and said, I'll have him change it. From now on, Finn can call you Papa. Daddy Gavin? I touched my forehead and glanced at him. From now on, your sister isn't planning on taking her kid back? That's the problem. Alex showed me his phone. The conversation was only a few lines long, all of them curses from his sister. What kid? I'm in Europe dying from my experiments. Alex, if you keep spouting nonsense, I'm flying back right now to stick you in a centrifuge and separate the water from your brain. I got it. Your sister won't acknowledge Finn? But that didn't make sense. If she didn't, how did Finn get to be this old? Did Alex's parents help raise him? But then why would Finn be so familiar with us? Countless questions flashed through my mind. I replayed all the little moments with Finn over the past few days, and my expression slowly changed. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Finn, he didn't travel here from another dimension, did he? In another dimension, Alex's sister gave birth to Finn but, for some reason, left him in our care. That's why Finn is so familiar and affectionate with us. I couldn't help but think of my dream again, the one where Alex came home devastated, holding a tiny Finn, his eyes red. So in that dimension, did something happen to his sister? Alex had clearly thought of something similar. He let out a slow breath. I'll try calling my sister again. I nodded. I'll go check on Finn. Back in the bathroom, Finn was sitting in the tub playing with a bath bomb. He saw me and smiled, his eyes curving. Mom! Seeing his smile made my heart melt, and I didn't care what he called me anymore. It just meant the kid felt close to me. You're so amazing, sweetie. You washed up so well all by yourself. Finn's eyes lit up, and he threw himself at me, hugging my waist. Mom, you and Dad made up. You called me sweetie again. I stroked his wet head and suddenly felt a pang of guilt. I asked him softly back then, when Dad and I fought, was I mean to you? Finn tilted his head at me. What counts as mean? Does not sleeping with me at night count? I pinched his cheek. Of course it does. Why wouldn't I sleep with you? You're so cute. Finn puffed up his cheeks. I know, right? Why didn't you sleep with me? It's all Dad's fault. Dad said he had to comfort Mom, and then he just carried you away from me. My guilt instantly turned to embarrassed shame. I grabbed a towel and started drying his hair. All right, I'll sleep with you tonight. Finn was ecstatic, letting out whoops of joy all over the bathroom until he attracted Alex's attention. He announced proudly, Mom's sleeping with me tonight. Alex raised an eyebrow, took 2 steps forward, and swept me up into his arms, striding out of the room. Too late. Mom's sleeping in the master bedroom today. Hey, bad daddy. Finn quickly pulled on his underwear and followed, pounding Alex's thigh with his tiny fists. Put Mom down. Being carried around in circles by Alex, I couldn't help but laugh. Okay, you two, aren't you being a little childish? Well, 2 similar handsome faces, one big and one small, crowded in front of me and asked in unison, who are you sleeping with tonight? I'll sleep on the couch. How about that? Of course, that wasn't an option. So the 3 of us once again squeezed into the big bed. Alex and I were on either side, with Finn sleeping in the middle. He hugged the teddy bear Alex had bought him that afternoon and mumbled sleepily, so happy. I tucked him in. Weren't you happy before? Finn thought for a moment. I was happy then, too. But knowing you two are this happy makes me even happier. The little guy was quite the philosopher. I stroked his head. Go to sleep. Good night, sweetie. Finn snuggled his head against my shoulder. Good night, Mom and Dad. Before long, his little snores started. I watched his sleeping face, and a tide of tenderness washed over me. I'm starting to get jealous of Finn, Alex whispered, reaching out to touch my face. I shot him a look. Oh please, if it weren't for him, would you be lying here right now? Alex let out a low laugh. He suddenly got out of bed, walked over to my side, and bent down to pick me up. I almost yelped and quickly wrapped my arms around his neck. What are you doing? Alex carried me into the guest room, leaned over, and pressed me onto the bed. His eyes were like dark, swirling ink, lit by a fiery glow. You're right, I shouldn't be lying there. I should be lying next to you, shouldn't I? I didn't even have time to speak before his lips forcefully pried mine open. His tongue slid inside, a stark contrast to his usual cool and distant demeanor. This kiss was wild and scorching. Devin, Alex looked at me, his fingers finding mine and lacing them together. His voice held a hint of vulnerability. You still haven't given me an answer. I like you. What about you? My face was completely flushed. I shyly looked away and whispered, I like you too. Alex was quiet for a moment. Then he suddenly buried his face in my neck and let out a long breath, his voice laced with a smile. That's wonderful. When I woke up the next day, there was a little head in my arms again. Finn was lying next to me, kicking his feet as he looked at my phone. "Mom," he said when he saw I was awake, frowning with a pout. "Dad secretly carried you away again last night." I felt a little guilty. I couldn't blame it all on his dad. My willpower wasn't exactly ironclad. I peeked over his shoulder. "What are you looking at?" Finn held up the phone. "Cakes. My birthday's almost here." Finn's birthday was near mine, on November 3rd. I had almost forgotten. I felt like I'd failed him. I sat up quickly and started looking at cakes with him. "What do you want for your birthday? Mommy and Daddy can take you to buy it." Finn said, "I want to eat cake, go to an amusement park, and make another family corner." Alex came in just then to call us for a meal. Hearing this, he said, "How about we go to the new amusement park on the outskirts of the city this weekend? They have a DIY baking studio there, too."
Finn nodded enthusiastically.
Yes. After brunch, I had to go back to campus for class. Alex drove me back. Finn leaned against the back window, waving at me. "Mom, Dad and I will come pick you up later." Okay. People were coming and going, but I didn't feel embarrassed. I reached out and ruffled his hair. "Okay." Alex smiled at me. "I'll take you guys out for seafood tonight." I smiled back. "Okay." 2 hours later, I walked out of the academic building with the crowd. From a distance, I saw Alex holding Finn's hand at the campus gate. They both smiled when they saw me. The setting sun chased them from behind, casting the world in a hazy, warm, and gentle glow. An indescribable warmth rippled through me. I strode forward and scooped up Finn as he ran toward me. Alex took my backpack and looked down with a smile. "Let's go. We're going home." After dinner, we went to the supermarket to buy some decorations for our family corner. Finn loved warm colors like orange and red, so the furniture we bought was all bright, a stark contrast to the black and white of Alex's original apartment. As I spread the tablecloth, I teased Alex, "This bachelor's showroom apartment has really had a makeover." With Finn around, the apartment had filled up with toys, a teddy bear rug, and now these bright decorations and furniture. The whole place felt alive. Alex seemed very happy. He put his arm around me, watching Finn run around arranging the decorations. His voice was soft and gentle. I really liked the apartment now. Lively, warm, and full of life. Alex wasn't a cold person by nature. It was just that his parents were far away, and he had been alone for most of his life. Without much love given to him, he had to close himself off, until one ordinary morning when 2 warm rays of light entered his life. "Mommy, Daddy, let's take a picture first." Finn ran over, holding the Polaroid camera we had just bought. "We can put it on the photo wall right after." "Good idea." Alex bent down and picked him up. I set up the camera, tilted my head next to them, and the 3 of us gave a silly peace sign to the camera. The shutter clicked and the photo quickly developed. I nodded in satisfaction at the picture of the 3 of us and helped Finn stick it on the photo wall. "There will be a lot more pictures here in the future," Finn said, pointing to the empty space on the wall. I teased him, "Really? How many is a lot?" Finn looked at me and said very seriously, "Lots and lots. There will be you, Dad, me, my friends, and Grandma and Grandpa. We'll have lots and lots of pictures." Listening to him, I could almost see a wall full of photos, every single one filled with smiles. "We will," I said, ruffling his hair and kissing his forehead. "Our Finn is going to have so many photos, so much love." That night, Finn once again came to sleep in the big bed with us. Alex, having gotten what he wanted last night, didn't say anything and just gently patted Finn's back. "Mommy, Daddy." Finn was full of energy tonight. He looked back and forth between Alex and me, smiling. "You're both so handsome." I pinched his cheeks. "Of course. If we weren't handsome, how could you be such a handsome little guy?" My teasing made Finn giggle. He hugged his teddy bear, snuggled against me, then against Alex, and finally sprawled out in the middle of the bed with a long sigh. "This is so nice. I'm so happy." I told him, "You'll be this happy every day from now on." Finn nodded emphatically. "That's right. I was happy before, I'm happy now, and I'll be this happy in the future." content, he came over and wrapped his arm around mine, leaning his face in. Kiss from Mom. I happily obliged with a peck. Finn then rolled over to Alex's side. Kiss from Dad. Alex also leaned down and kissed his cheek. Finn giggled, looking at us with bright eyes. Mommy and Daddy. Kiss, you little rascal. Alex laughed, covered Finn's eyes with one hand, and leaned down to kiss my lips. I slept soundly all night. I woke up early the next day. Alex was still asleep, but Finn was not in bed. I thought he had gone to the bathroom, but after searching the apartment, I couldn't find him. I started to panic and went back to wake Alex up. Where's Finn? Alex woke up instantly. We searched upstairs and downstairs but couldn't find the boy. I was about to call the police when my eyes caught a piece of colored paper stuck to the photo wall. I took it down, and a child's handwriting jumped out at me. Mommy and Daddy, it's me, Finn. The day before my birthday, you were fighting. Mommy said Daddy was an ISE prince in college, not like now. Mommy was so mad, and Daddy carried Mommy away again. So I wanted to see what Mommy and Daddy were like in college. I saw it. Is ISE prince the same as being young? It's not different. Mommy still gets mad. Daddy still carries Mommy away, and I still have to sleep by myself. I should be the one who's mad, but I still love heart you. I have so much more I want to write, and I haven't eaten cake yet or gone to the amusement park. But I have to go home now. Mommy and Daddy are waiting for me. I'm so happy. I love you so much. Kisses, kisses, kisses. Goodbye, Mommy and Daddy. That little rascal. Tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. I could hardly bear to read it a second time. Alex pulled me into his arms. He saw a new Polaroid photo tucked behind the colored paper. It was a picture of Finn, hugging his teddy bear and smiling. The image was slightly blurry, but his smile was radiant. So he made a birthday wish in his world, and a god heard him? I said in a choked voice. Alex stuck the photo back on the wall, right next to our family picture, and gave a soft hum. I think so. My tears started flowing again. What a little rascal. His mom and dad were fighting over there, so he ran over here to hide. Alex gently kissed my forehead. He just wanted to know what we were like back then, if we fought, if we were happy, if we were doing okay. Of course, I knew that. I just couldn't bear to let him go. Finn wasn't a little rascal. Finn was my precious baby. I never even got to thank my boy. Alex sighed, his eyes also a little red. He looked at me, trying to lighten the mood. Thank my son for being our little matchmaker and getting his parents together. I suddenly remembered my dream again. I nodded, then shook my head. We would have gotten together. It was just a matter of time. Alex held me and swayed gently. You're that sure? I wiped my tears and sniffed. Of course. Because someone likes me. Alex admitted it freely. Yeah. Because I like you. I answered softly, I like you too. So you see, people who like each other always end up together. Alex said, wiping the tears from the corner of my eye, his voice low and serious. And people who miss each other will always find each other again. I burst into tears and laughter at the same time. You're just trying to make me feel better. I'm not, Alex said seriously. Didn't Finn say goodbye? We will definitely see him again. I didn't say anything, just looked at Alex, then at Finn's picture on the wall. The sad, anxious throbbing in my blood finally stopped, replaced by a gentle, free-flowing current that moved toward my heart. We'll see him again. I leaned against Alex's shoulder and whispered, we'll definitely see each other again. In the future, in the fall, on a rainy night. We will definitely meet again. And Alex held me and gently unclasped the necklace from my neck. With a few deft movements of his fingers, the necklace transformed into a ring. I stared at him in astonishment, unsure how to react, and let him slide the ring onto my middle finger. Alex's eyes were calm and gentle. He gazed into my eyes and said, word for word, and I will always be by your side. No matter the dimension, no matter when we meet, I will fall in love with you. I will always be by your side, and I will welcome all our future meetings and reunions with you.